Hello everybody, Landi here, and today I will be ranking every game I beat in 2024. I know it's pretty late, but you know what? I'm doing it anyway, because better late than never, right? Yeah, I played 13. Well, I should say I beat 13 games in 2024, and overall I enjoyed my time. It was really my first year just really going for playing as many games and as I can and actually beating them, I should say. Like, most of my gaming before has been just playing like the first world or so of a game and then just kind of moving on to the next one. But no, I was really trying to beat games. Didn't beat everyone, but I did beat a handful, as you can see in this list. Before I get started, I should probably specify that when I say beat a game, I'm mainly just saying rolling credits, not 100%ing a game. I usually, even though I've started, beating games as in rolling the credits more often, I just haven't really, I don't really have the patience or the motivation to actually 100% games. Plus, there's just so many games out there. I want to play as many as I can, and if I'm just stuck 100%ing a game, spending countless hours doing that, it's taken away from time I could play other games. So these are games that I just rolled credits on. Now first, before I get into the list, here are a few honorable mentions. These are games that I almost beat, got pretty darn far, but didn't actually roll the credits on. The first of these is Final Fantasy VII. I know, this is a big one, maybe controversial even, because I just kind of lost motivation there at the end. But I literally got all the way to the final dungeon, but I just wasn't, I wasn't doing the greatest there, and I think it was because I didn't level up and play correctly going up into that. I didn't fully level up the summons. I didn't fully level those up, and I didn't get every item I should have, and the lack of saves, there's like one save you can do in the entire final dungeon, and it's a pretty lengthy dungeon from what I've seen in like walkthroughs and whatnot. And so I've just not been motivated to go back and beat it. I know it's so close, but I don't know. Next up is a game that I do actually want to beat, and I hope to beat this year, and that is Hades. I played a lot of this, even have completed a run a few times. But I think after that first run, I was kind of caught off guard because I thought that was going to be when the credits roll and when the game ends, but apparently you have to do it 10 times, so I'll probably get the rest of the times I need this year, hopefully. I'll be able to do that, but I just kind of lost the motivation for that eventually, but I'll definitely try that again. Hades, it's a fun one, and the sequel's coming sometime, so yeah. And then third of all, we have Mario and Luigi Brothership. Now, this game released in November, so pretty late in the year, and I played through a lot of it. I'd say I'd probably played over half of the game, if not like 3/4 through. But I think what just happened, and this is just a general, I came upon a gaming slump, basically. I just wasn't feeling like playing games much, and I wanted to do a few other things, like reading and watching shows and whatnot. And so I think it just kind of fell victim to that, where I wasn't able to beat it. But I do plan on beating that one this year, for sure. So yeah, those are those three honorable mentions. But now let's just get into the list. Coming in last place, unlucky number 13, I have Kirby's Dream Land. This is easily the smallest game I played in the year. It took me only an hour. And I suck at platformers, so it'll probably take you less. Yeah, it was not big, and the capture mechanic that Kirby is known for isn't even here yet. So, even though I do think the game, of course, has its merits, it's the start of the Kirby franchise, it definitely is not like the strongest. It was a Game Boy game, an early Game Boy game, so of course, it's not going to be like top tier or anything. But, I think out of the games I feel like this kind of belongs here in the bottom. Played it the least, and it was fine, but it wasn't the most enriching platformer I've ever played. In at number 12, and I don't mean the bag on Kirby, I really do enjoy the idea of the Kirby franchise, but Kirby's Adventure. Now, I actually played this game a while back, and I really enjoyed it. And I played it again this, 2024, and I did still like it. But I think compared to the other games I've played this year, it just wasn't able to fully stand up to them in the terms. And so I think we have the capture mechanic now. The game in general is on a larger scale, and it actually gets a little challenging with that final boss. I mean, the rest of the game is not really challenging, but that final boss is. But again, it's a bit of an old platformer, and it was good for its time, but it is also a bit laggy. And so I just think that compared to the rest of these games, this one is rather low. Number 11, I have Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and I'm specifically just talking about the campaign with this one, because I mainly play Call of Duty for zombies, but I did play through the campaign, and I actually quite liked it. I think I liked it even more than I liked the Cold War campaign, and I thought that was a pretty decent campaign too. This one, it really does this thing where it switches things up a bit and adds in new ideas into the Call of Duty campaign format. You have a level that is open world, for instance. You have a level that is almost like a survival horror, kind of very scary, like horror themed. And then you have, of course, the casino level. Everyone talks about the casino level. But there's a lot of cool set pieces and levels here. And for a Call of Duty campaign, it's pretty darn good. At the number 10 spot, I have Astro's Playroom. This is, of course, the free game you get with the PlayStation 5. I got a PlayStation 5 last year, therefore I had access to Astro's Playroom. And it took me a little while to get around to it, but I did play Astro's Playroom, and I really enjoyed it. You know, it's of course small. It's basically like a demo just to show off the features of the PlayStation 5 and mainly the DualSense controller. And it does a pretty darn good job at that. I don't know, like, beside that game, and then of course Astro Bot, which I'm actually playing right now, make full use of the DualSense, and better use than pretty much every other game I've ever played or even seen. So yeah, it is, but it's just really fun. It made me want to 100% it, which I believe I did. Well, I didn't do the speedrun stuff, but I did pretty much everything else. I got all the collectibles and everything. But yes, seriously, it's a great game, and it really was a great DNA for them to use for Astro Bot, which of course won Game of the Year last year. It was my vote, even though I hadn't played it yet. But now I am. So yeah, Astro's Playroom. If you know me, you know I'm a bit of a FNAF fan, and so I had to have Into the Pit on this list. Of course, I played and beat Into the Pit. That's why it's on here. But I had to play it because it's a new FNAF game, obviously. But no, seriously, Into the Pit. It may appear down here at number 9, but I actually really did like this game a lot. I mean, I just think it was very polished, to say. You know, compared to Security Breach, especially at launch, like, this game was much more polished. It had a lot of care put into it, and as a bonus, I had actually read the Into the Pit short story before playing the game, so I knew what was going on. I knew the characters and the premise going into it, and it was fun. But I think what makes Into the Pit so cool is, of course, it has its nice pixel art, but also it's actually kind of unsettling. Like, I enjoy Security Breach, but I wouldn't necessarily call it all that scary. But Into the Pit, like, especially if you have headphones on, you got that background noise. It's all dark, especially if you play it at night. It can actually unsettle you a bit. It can actually be a bit chilling, which was a fun experience, of course. You kind of want your horror games to be a little scary. So, yeah, I really did enjoy Into the Pit. It just couldn't quite get above games that I think are a bit more full, you know, games that I feel like just deserve a little bit more recognition. But this Into the Pit is great. Coming in at the number 8 spot is the first of 3 tactical RPGs that will appear on this list, and this is Advanced Wars, specifically the version in the Advanced Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. But this is just speaking about the first Advance Wars. And it was good. Now, I remember when I was younger, I watched a YouTube Let's Play of this, maybe multiple. And I actually owned the third one. And while I didn't beat it, I did play a decent amount of it. So I've been familiar with Advance Wars, but this is really my first time just fully playing through. I played through the first game, and it was really fun. I think, even though it's the lowest of the three I put on this list, that's not at all meant to shame this game. I mean, all the games on this list to a certain extent are great, but I think this one, it was great because I actually mainly played it portable. I feel like it was a good one to take just with me, take the Switch with me on the road or whatever, play a mission or two, and it was fun. It definitely is. It's very similar to Fire Emblem because it's another Intelligent Systems tactical RPG. It was good. It's a good game, and I'm excited for the second one because a lot of people, I think, like the second one better, and think it just kind of takes it and runs with it. So hopefully, maybe I'll get around to playing Advance Wars 2 this year. But right up in the number 7 spot is the second tactical RPG, and that is Fire Emblem: The Blazing Blade, or as it's just called here in the West, Fire Emblem. This is my first time actually playing a Fire Emblem game. Similar to Advance Wars, I was familiar with the franchise, first through, Smash Brothers, of course, but then, looked it up on my own, watched playthroughs, all that fun stuff. But this is my first time actually playing it, and it's fitting because this was the first not Advance Wars. This is the first Fire Emblem released in the West, and it was a really good time. I think for being my first jump into the series, I think it did a good job at explaining everything, and it literally has like a bunch of tutorial levels right at the beginning that teach you how to play, and those are actually really fun for just being tutorial levels. But no, it was a good game. I'll say the one thing that kind of takes it down just a little bit for me is that towards the end, when the missions get a bit more difficult and take longer, it starts to kind of slow down, and it almost feels like you're working instead of playing a game. But I think overall, just being able to beat it and the satisfaction of that and all that, it was really fun, for sure. And I think it was a pretty decent delve into Fire Emblem. I just think I want to continue it with Fire Emblem Engage this year. I might have turn off in the permadeath mechanic because that was part of what kind of made it a little dicey there towards the end of this playthrough. Just kind of the tension and stress of that. Overall, though, a great game, very well made, and I'm excited to play more Fire Emblem. And at number 6, I have the third tactical RPG. I just kind of, one by one, just put them all next to each other. And this one is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Okay, I know what you're saying. How could you put Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle above Advance Wars and Fire Emblem? Two, beloved classics, whereas Mario plus Rabbids is kind of just this kind of wacky crossover game, People don't usually think too highly about it, but I'll tell you this. I had a lot of fun playing this game. I think this game, more so than the other two, I could actually feel chill, even though some of the fights were actually pretty difficult at times. It was just like I didn't have to stress about anything as much. Especially with Fire Emblem, I didn't have to stress about permadeath or anything like that. Overall, it was just a lot more chill of an experience, and it was fun. I like the very mobile combat and battles and all that. I thought it made for a pretty fun time, and I don't really understand all the hate that these games get. I mean, I guess maybe it's just not for everyone, really. But again, Sparks of Hope is something I hope to play. Haha, I'm so funny. Anyway, let's get on to our top 5 now. Number 5 is a beloved classic. Well, it's not that old, but I'm talking about BioShock. Okay, BioShock, this game is, a lot of people talk about it. A lot of games take inspiration from BioShock, and early on in the year I was like, I want to try it out. I want to see what this is all about. And I love the 20s setting, so I was like, let's go with it. And I played through the game, and I really enjoyed it. I think, while like, yeah, the combat itself isn't the most inspired. It's just like basically just shooting your gun, and you have a few abilities. But I love just the environments and exploring them. I would try to explore them and find as much as I could. And that's not even mentioning the lore and the story behind this game. There's a lot of twists and turns. Let me just say that. If you know, you know. All right. But no, seriously, this was a fun game, and I'm glad I gave it a shot, because again, like a lot of these other games, I want to play BioShock 2. This year I want to just continue a lot of these that I started last year. So we'll see if I get around to that. Number 4 is the first game I beat last year. That is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I had become pretty disenfranchised with the new Mario 2D platformers at this point. You know, the new Super Mario Bros. Games just weren't doing it for me. I liked the first two. I think they both brought something new to the table, but after that, I'm just like, I just did not have any interest in them. But Mario Wonder, flip that on its head. This game totally changes up the formula, adds in the wonder effects, and I just had a great time playing this game. Like, some of the most fun I've had playing a platformer in recent times. And, you know, you'll notice I mainly play RPGs, but I do still owe platformers for helping me get into gaming when I was young. And so it's cool to play one that I can still have a lot of fun with. And that definitely was Wonder. It was just fun. Yeah, it's not the most difficult, but just being able to see all these wonder effects and try to get through the levels in unique ways using the new power-ups and whatnot, it was a good time, and I liked it. So here we are at the podium of RPGs. Yep, that's right. They're all role-playing games from here on out. These top 3. And they were all really close. I mean, I really had to think about these ones. So we're getting to the best of the best here. Number 3, I have Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, specifically the remake that released this year. This game was great. I mean, I understand what people are saying. You know, everyone raves about it, has raved about it for a long time, and I finally got the chance to play it, and I enjoyed it a lot. This game takes a lot of the mechanics from the original Paper Mario, but expands upon it. It makes, especially with partners, it makes them a lot more useful and a lot more of a member of your party, personality-wise and gameplay-wise. And that was the big improvement right there. But also just the story in general. There's a lot more unique things going on here. Like, there's a world where instead of like the traditional going around the area fighting bad guys, you instead are fighting like in a wrestling ring, and you are moving up the ranks trying to beat the top guy. Like, that's very unique. And then there's another one where it's like a train mystery kind of situation. Like, really just cool ideas that expanded upon what the first Paper Mario, which I really enjoyed, but expanded that further. However, coming in at number 2, this might be an upset, but I actually have Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. So a lot of people would put Thousand Year Door at number 1, and I completely understand that. I just ever so slightly enjoyed Superstar Saga a little more. I just like, I think it maybe is just the combat and the world of this game. I just think that, just again, ever so slightly, I enjoyed Superstar Saga more. It's such a great template, and also I have a bit of nostalgia for this one. I watched multiple Let's Plays on this game. I was a huge fan, even though I'd never played it when I was younger. But this is it. This is when I finally played it, and I had a blast. It was really a good experience, and so far, I think this is my favorite Mario RPG I've played. Superstar Saga is just a great experience. It's on NSO, so if you're at all interested, it's right there. It's a good one. But coming in at number 1 is a game that just wowed me on so many levels. This one, it really was just such a great experience and such a great game. And I'm talking about Sea of Stars. What to say about Sea of Stars? Now, okay, first off, this game is beautiful. Just both, it looks beautiful with the pixel art, and it has a great soundtrack, and just the presentation is just great. No wonder this won indie game for 2023. Also, the combat, I just think the combat of this game was so well done. It's very Mario RPG inspired in that it has, you use action commands, you are pressing buttons and whatnot to commit to your attacks, and of course I just love that implementation there, but they just do it so well and so smoothly. And there's people don't care for the story. I thought it was fine. I didn't have any problem with the story. I mean, especially in that third act, but it was a good time for sure. And I wasted way too much time on that Wheels game. I think it was called Wheels. It's like the Gwent of this game basically, but I spent a decent chunk of my time just playing that game. It was so fun and addicting to play that. But overall, just the overall game as a whole was such a great experience, and it's now opened me up to playing a bunch of more, indie. I want to play more RPGs in general, of course, but I want to play more of these pixel art indie RPGs. There's a few cool ones I've seen around, and even the non-indie ones. Like I want to play the Dragon Quest III remake. I want to play Octopath Traveler 2 and whatnot. So this game is really it's great, and it's probably a top 10 game for me, really, of all time. I love Sea of Stars, and I'm excited to see what these developers do next. If you haven't played Sea of Stars and you're all interested in the concept of RPGs, then you should really give this one a shot, because it's a fun one for sure. So there you have it. There's my ranking of all the games I beat last year. I had a pretty good time playing video games. I think going into this year, I'm trying to take a bit of a new tactic where instead of trying to make lists and be like, alright, I'm going to play this one, and then after that, I'm going to play this one, instead of just doing more of like what am I feeling like playing? What game do I want to beat? And then play that and try to, beat it, and then whatever I'm feeling like after I beat that game, I'll just move on to that game. So I'm going to try to implement that. Hopefully I enjoy myself a little more, and don't get worn out or whatnot with games. But no, it was a fun time for gaming, and I had a fun time making this video. So if you want, you can like this video, subscribe, drop something down in the comments. This is definitely an inconsistent channel. I just kind of upload whenever I can or feel like it. But you know what? Thank you for watching anyway. Until next time, see ya.